Dr. Amanda Mitchell had always imagined first contact would happen on a day marked by grandeur, perhaps during a significant astronomical event or a breakthrough in quantum communications. Instead, it came during her 3 a.m. coffee break at NASA's Deep Space Monitoring Station, while she was picking at a stale blueberry muffin and reviewing routine sensor data. The first anomaly appeared as a slight distortion in the Kuiper Belt monitoring array. She might have dismissed it as sensor ghosting if not for her decades of experience reading these patterns. 3 more anomalies appeared within seconds, then dozens, then hundreds. The system's proximity alerts began screaming as massive objects decelerated from what appeared to be faster than light travel. "This can't be right," she muttered, fingers flying across her haptic interface. The energy signatures were unlike anything humanity had ever recorded. Each reading suggested objects larger than aircraft carriers, bleeding exotic particles that shouldn't exist in normal spacetime. She reached for the red phone, the one that connected directly to General Morrison at Space Command. The line connected before the first ring completed. "Dr. Mitchell, this better be." "Sir, Operation Cassandra is in effect." "I repeat, Operation Cassandra is in effect." The silence on the other end lasted exactly 2 seconds. "Confirm authentication code." "Authentication Delta 779er Epsilon read." She watched as more objects appeared on her screen. "Sir, I'm counting over 300 objects larger than 500 meters in length, just past Mars' orbit. They're arranging themselves in what appears to be a battle formation. How long until they reach Earth?" "At their current deceleration rate." She swallowed hard. 4 hours, maybe less. What followed was the most efficiently executed military mobilization in human history, though the public wouldn't know it for several more hours. Deep beneath the world's major cities, hidden facilities hummed to life. In bunkers and secret bases across the globe, soldiers in unmarked uniforms rushed to their stations. Project Nemesis, humanity's insurance policy against this exact scenario, activated its protocols with mechanical precision. The world's population remained asleep, unaware that their civilization stood on the brink of its greatest challenge. Only a select few watched their screens as Earth's secret orbital defense platforms picked up the approaching fleet. At exactly 7:13 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, every electronic device on Earth capable of receiving the signal activated simultaneously. Television screens, phones, computers, and even digital billboards displayed the same image. A towering, serpentine figure with iridescent scales and multiple eyes. Its voice, translated into all Earth's major languages, resonated with a cold efficiency that made Amanda's skin crawl. "People of Earth, hear the words of the Zarkanian Empire. Your world has been chosen for integration into our dominion. We have conquered 17 civilizations across this galaxy, each more advanced than yours. Resistance has proven futile in all cases. You have 48 of your hours to surrender control of your governing bodies to our appointed administrators, to demonstrate our power." The figure paused, and Amanda watched in horror as dozens of humanity's satellites exploded simultaneously. GPS systems worldwide went dark. Communications networks crashed. The International Space Station, thankfully evacuated an hour earlier under the guise of a debris warning, disintegrated. "This was but a fraction of our capability. Choose wisely. Any aggressive action will result in immediate planetary bombardment." The transmission ended, leaving billions in panic and confusion. But in her secure bunker, now 30 levels below ground, Amanda allowed herself a grim smile as she entered the final activation codes for humanity's hidden defenses. The Zarkanians had made a crucial mistake. They had assumed humanity's visible technology represented the peak of their capabilities. They hadn't discovered the quantum shielding installations hidden in Earth's asteroid belt. They hadn't detected the phase-shifted defense platforms in low orbit. And most importantly, they hadn't realized that humanity had been preparing for this moment since the Roswell incident in 1947. "Contact the Security Council," she instructed her AI assistant. Tell them it's time to wake our sleeping giants. The Zarkanians thought they were initiating a conquest. In reality, they had just stepped into humanity's most elaborate trap. Colonel James Thunder Harrison stood in the elevator descending into Cheyenne Mountain's classified sublevel, watching the depth indicator tick past numbers that officially didn't exist. At minus 3,000 feet, twice the depth of the nanoradiation facility above, the elevator smoothly decelerated. He allowed himself a moment to straighten his uniform, more out of habit than necessity. What waited below cared little for military formality. The doors opened to reveal Project Nemesis Central Command, a cathedral of human ingenuity hidden from the world for over 70 years. Holographic displays filled the air with cascading data streams, each representing a different aspect of Earth's hidden defense network. Technicians in unmarked uniforms moved with practiced efficiency between stations, their faces illuminated by the soft blue glow of quantum monitoring arrays. Status report, Harrison barked, striding toward the central platform, where Dr. Rebecca Wells, Nemesis's chief scientist, stood surrounded by floating technical readouts. The Zarkanians are exactly where we want them, Colonel. She gestured, and a holographic representation of the solar system materialized between them. They've positioned their fleet in a standard Theta attack formation. Predictable, considering they think we're defenseless. Harrison nodded, watching red dots representing enemy ships cluster around Earth's orbit. And our countermeasures. The quantum disruptors are charged and masked. Phase shift generators are maintaining our stealth envelope. She smiled, the expression both proud and predatory. Everything we reverse-engineered from the Roswell craft has been improved upon. We're not just matching their technology, Colonel. We're exceeding it. A junior officer approached with a secure tablet. Sir, Operation Dead Switch is ready. All civilian satellites were backed up to our quantum servers before the aliens destroy them. We can restore global communications the moment we need to. And the special package? Harrison asked, taking the tablet. Ragnarok Protocol is armed and awaiting your command. The nanite swarms will activate the moment we engage. Harrison moved to the central war table, where three-dimensional representations of their hidden weapons platforms rotated slowly. Quantum torpedo launchers disguised as communications satellites, gravity manipulation arrays hidden in defunct space stations, consciousness transfer beacons that could hijack enemy neural networks. Each piece of technology represented decades of secret development, billions in black budget funding, and humanity's relentless drive to survive. Display task force status, he commanded. The air filled with readiness reports from their hidden bases worldwide. Beneath the Antarctic ice, stealth fighters waited in thermal masked hangars. In the Mariana Trench, quantum submarines prepared to launch gravity-defying assault craft. Even now, special forces teams equipped with reverse-engineered alien tech were moving into position across the globe. Sir, Dr. Wells interrupted his thoughts. The Security Council is ready. The war table's surface shimmered, revealing the faces of humanity's true defense council. Not the public figures who would soon be evacuated to bunkers, but the ones who had been preparing for this moment since before Harrison was born. Ladies and gentlemen, Harrison began, Operation Sleeping Giant is now active. For 75 years, we've maintained this deception. We let the world think we were divided, technologically primitive, and vulnerable. We've hidden our true capabilities behind a carefully crafted veil of apparent weakness. He paused, looking at each face in turn. The Zarkanians gave us 48 hours to surrender. They expect us to spend that time in panic and desperate negotiation. Instead, we'll use it to execute the most comprehensive military response in human history. All units are in position. The Australian representative confirmed. Quantum shielding is ready to deploy over major population centers. Orbital defense platforms report full combat readiness, added the Russian commander. Stealth systems are holding. Harrison's fingers traced the holographic outline of Earth. We've spent 3 generations preparing for this moment. Every treaty signed, every public space program canceled, every apparent technological limitation, all of it designed to create the perfect deception. He straightened, squaring his shoulders. Initiate Phase 1. Let's show these aliens why humanity's greatest weapon has always been our ability to plan ahead. As the orders went out, Harrison allowed himself a grim smile. The Zarkanians thought they had caught humanity unprepared. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. Captain Emily Ghost Reynolds sat in the cockpit of her F-35X Quantum fighter, breathing recycled air through her next-gen flight mask as the underground hangar's magnetic launch system powered up. The familiar hum of the quantum core beneath her seat was oddly comforting. Her squadron had spent thousands of hours training for this moment in simulated combat, but now the enemy was real. "Ghost Squadron, sound off," she commanded, watching the status indicators for her 12 pilots flash green one by one. "Shadow 2, ready. Shadow 3, combat ready. Shadow 4, quantum core stable." The roll call continued until all 12 pilots had confirmed. These weren't ordinary Air Force pilots. They were the elite of Project Nemesis, chosen for their ability to handle the neural interface systems reversed engineered from the Roswell craft. Each had undergone genetic enhancement to withstand the G-forces of quantum-assisted flight. "Command, Ghost Leader, squadron is ready for launch." Colonel Harrison's voice crackled through her neural comm. "Ghost Squadron, you are green for Operation Thunderstrike. Remember, the enemy doesn't know about the quantum shielding. Make them think their first volleys penetrated our defenses. Then show them what humanity's been hiding." The magnetic launcher engaged, and Emily felt the familiar surge as her fighter shot up the vertical shaft, hidden within what appeared to be an abandoned mine in the Colorado Rockies. 11 more launches followed in precise sequence, each fighter phase shifting to avoid detection as they emerged into the night sky. Above them, the Zarkanian fleet had begun their shock and awe campaign, firing energy weapons at Earth's supposedly defenseless cities. The quantum shields absorbed each blast, but sophisticated holographic projectors showed devastating explosions instead. Emily allowed herself a tight smile. The aliens were about to learn some hard lessons about humanity's capacity for deception. "Ghost Squadron, form up on me. Quantum cores to combat power. Activate neural interface systems." Emily's consciousness expanded as the neural interface engaged, merging her awareness with her fighter sensors. Through this enhanced perception, she could feel the position of every squadron member, every enemy ship, and every piece of debris in their engagement zone. "Command, we have visual on primary target. Zarkanian command ship, this exactly where Intel said it would be." She watched the massive vessel through both normal and quantum spectrum sensors. "Their shields are impressive, but they're not designed to handle what we're about to throw at them." "Execute Attack Plan Delta," Harrison ordered. "Show them what those fighters can do." Emily's voice carried a predatory edge as she gave the command. "Ghost Squadron, weapons free. Execute quantum split maneuver on my mark." The squadron accelerated to attack speed, still cloaked by their phase shift technology. At Emily's command, each fighter activated its quantum core's combat function. Reality seemed to blur as each aircraft split into 3 identical copies, creating a 36-fighter assault force that existed simultaneously in slightly different quantum states. The Zarkanian sensors detected nothing until it was too late. Ghost Squadron decloaked simultaneously, their quantum state fighters converging on the command ship from multiple vectors. Emily's targeting computer locked onto the vessel's shield generators, their weaknesses identified by decades of studying the Roswell technology. Fire. 36 quantum disruption beams struck the Zarkanian shields simultaneously. The alien vessel's defensive barrier, designed to stop conventional energy weapons, had no defense against weapons that attacked through quantum space itself. The shields shattered like glass, leaving the massive ship exposed. "Second wave, execute," Emily commanded, leading her squadron in a complex series of maneuvers that would have killed an unaugmented human pilot. The Zarkanian point defense systems couldn't track fighters operating in multiple quantum states simultaneously. Their next volley targeted the ship's primary power core. The explosions were spectacular, made more so by the look of shock Emily imagined on the alien commanders' faces as they realized their primitive opponents had just outmaneuvered their supposedly superior technology. Ghost Leader to command. Primary target neutralized. Moving to Phase 2. She switched to the squadron frequency. Let's show these aliens why you don't underestimate human ingenuity. Ghost Squadron. Weapons free. Hunt them down. Major Derek Wraith Thompson stood before the curved display wall in Project Nightmare's command center, studying the neural activity patterns of their alien adversaries. The Zarkanians' brain structure was different from humans, but fear looked the same across all species: rapid synaptic firing, elevated stress hormones, and chaotic thought patterns. "Show me the latest readings from their command ships," he ordered. The AI compiled the data, displaying a three-dimensional representation of Zarkanian brain activity. Their neural patterns had changed significantly since Ghost Squadron's devastating attack 6 hours ago. "They're rattled," Dr. Laura Martinez, his chief neuropsychologist, observed. "Their species has been apex predators for so long, they've forgotten what it feels like to be hunted." Thompson smiled. "Then let's remind them." He turned to his team of psychological warfare specialists. "Initialize Project Nightmare Phase 2. Let's show them humanity's highlight reel." Across the alien fleet, carefully curated footage began overriding their neural entertainment networks. Navy SEAL Hell Week training exercises, where humans pushed through impossible conditions with grim determination. UFC championship fights showing humanity's controlled violence. Free solo climbers scaling sheer cliffs without safety equipment, demonstrating humanity's seeming disregard for death. "They're trying to block the transmissions," one of his technicians reported. "Switch to backup frequencies," Thompson ordered, "and activate the neural resonance transmitters." This was the true masterstroke of Project Nightmare. Hidden among the video feeds were sophisticated neural patterns harvested from human combat veterans during moments of peak performance. The signature of a fighter pilot pulling high-G maneuvers while laughing. The focused calm of a sniper making an impossible shot. The savage joy of a Marine unit overrunning an enemy position. "Sir, we're detecting widespread pattern disruption in their neural networks," another analyst called out. "Their group consciousness is showing signs of stress fractures." Thompson nodded. The Zarkanians shared a low-level psychic field, an evolutionary advantage that had helped them conquer 17 other species. Now that same connection was becoming their weakness, spreading fear and uncertainty through their entire fleet. "Time to escalate," he declared. "Launch the mimetic warfare package." Dr. Martinez stepped forward. "Sir, are you sure? The psychological impact could be." "That's exactly what we want." Thompson activated his neural interface, connecting directly with the warfare systems. Their entire species' psychology is built on being the dominant force in the galaxy. Let's show them what real predators look like. New imagery flooded the alien networks. Historical recreations of human warfare through the ages, showing how each technological advancement had made humanity more lethal. Ancient Roman legions advancing in perfect formation. Medieval knights charging across battlefields. Modern special forces conducting night operations. Each image was paired with neural patterns expressing not fear, but exhilaration. "They're attempting to launch a counterattack," his tactical officer reported. 3 destroyer-class vessels breaking formation. "Perfect." Thompson activated the trap he'd been waiting for. Launched the Phantom Fleet. Holographic projectors, hidden in the debris field of the earlier battle, activated simultaneously. Hundreds of ghost ships appeared on Zarkanian sensors, each broadcasting the neural signatures of eager human crews ready for combat. The alien vessels froze, their crews suddenly unsure which targets were real and which were illusions. Their neural patterns are approaching critical instability. Dr. Martins reported, studying the readings. The combination of physical defeats and psychological warfare is breaking their morale faster than anticipated. Thompson watched as the alien ships began to retreat, their formation falling into disarray. Humanity spent millennia fighting itself. Doctor, we learned that the mind can be a more powerful weapon than any battleship. He turned to his communications officer. Send word to command. Tell them Phase 4 is ready to begin. It's time to show the Zarkanians why Earth's most dangerous predator isn't the lion or the tiger. It's the human being who studied them, learned from them, and then became even more lethal. As the alien fleet scrambled to regroup, Thompson allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. The Zarkanians had expected to find prey, but instead, they'd awakened something far more dangerous. A predator species that had spent its entire history perfecting the art of warfare, both physical and psychological. Lieutenant Commander Rebecca "Valkyrie" Anderson floated silently in her quantum stealth combat suit, watching the massive Zarkanian carrier through her enhanced visor. Her 12-person Marine Raider team maintained perfect formation around her, their suits' adaptive camouflage rendering them invisible against the backdrop of space debris. Status check. She subvocalized through the neural comm. Green acknowledgement lights flickered in her helmet display as each team member reported ready. They'd trained for this mission thousands of times in virtual reality, but today's boarding action would write a new chapter in military history. Command, this is Valkyrie Actual. Strike team is in position. She watched as their target's energy shields rippled with a purple iridescence, ready to execute Operation Trojan Horse. Colonel Harrison's voice came through clear despite the encryption. You have green light, Valkyrie. Show them why Earth's Navy spent centuries perfecting the art of boarding actions. Anderson signaled her team, and they began their approach. Their suits, reverse-engineered from the Roswell Craft's stealth systems, masked not just their visual signature, but their quantum wake as well. To the Zarkanian sensors, they were nothing more than random pieces of debris from earlier battles. Breach point identified. Her XO, Master Sergeant Mike "Phantom" Rodriguez, reported. Hull analysis shows structural weakness at Junction 7 Delta. Anderson smiled behind her visor. The aliens had built their ships for space combat, not boarding actions. They'd never faced a species crazy enough to attempt hand-to-hand combat in zero gravity. Execute breach protocol on my mark. The team moved into breaching formation, a maneuver practiced countless times in the sunken ships of the Mariana Trench. Their suits' magnetic grapples engaged silently, anchoring them to the carrier's hull. 3, 2, 1. Mark. Quantum cutting beams activated simultaneously, slicing through the hull's outer layer with surgical precision. The team's suits automatically compensated for the explosive decompression, their enhanced strength systems keeping them anchored as the breach point blew outward. Wolves are in the henhouse, Anderson transmitted to command as her team flowed through the breach like water. Their motion sensors, calibrated to detect Zarkanian life signs, showed dozens of confused crew members responding to the hull breach warnings. Contact front. Rodriguez called out. A squad of Zarkanian warriors rounded the corner, their plasma rifles charging. Execute pattern Sierra, Anderson commanded. The team split instantly, some adhering to the ceiling, others to the walls. The aliens, used to fighting in 2 dimensions, hesitated fatally as attacks came from all directions. Anderson's quantum blade hummed to life as she engaged the alien squad leader. The Zarkanian was nearly 9 feet tall, but in 0G, size meant nothing. She used their own momentum against them, movements learned from 0G combat training combining with centuries-old Aikido techniques. Bridge is 2 decks up, her tactical officer reported as the last alien fell. Their internal defenses are activating. Just like we planned, Anderson replied. Chaos team, execute. 4 of her raiders split off, heading for the carrier's engineering section. Their mission: plant quantum disruption charges at key points throughout the ship. The remaining team members formed up on Anderson, beginning their push toward the bridge. They encountered heavy resistance, but each firefight only proved humanity's superiority in close-quarters combat. The Zarkanians had forgotten the art of boarding actions, while humans had spent centuries perfecting it, from wooden sailing ships to modern naval vessels. Bridge secured, Anderson reported 10 minutes later, standing over the unconscious form of the carrier's commander. Quantum charges are in place. Ready to begin Phase 2. Execute, Harrison ordered. Show them why you never let wolves into your house. Anderson activated her neural transmitter, broadcasting directly into the Zarkanian command network. Her voice, translated into their language, echoed through every ship in their fleet. Attention Zarkanian forces. Your carrier has been boarded and captured by a 12-person human strike team. We are now in control of your flagship. Consider this a demonstration of humanity's capabilities in close combat. The next boarding action won't end with just a demonstration. As her team began transmitting the sensor data from their assault throughout the alien fleet, Anderson allowed herself a moment of pride. The Zarkanians were about to learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or numbers, but their ability to turn any environment, even the void of space, into a hunting ground. General Michael "Iron Mike" Davidson watched the holographic battle map with the calculated patience of a career strategist. 24 hours into the conflict, and humanity's hidden strengths were finally showing their full potential. But it was what was happening in Lab Complex 7 that truly demonstrated humanity's greatest advantage. "Show me the latest adaptation data," he commanded, and the air filled with scrolling technical readouts. Dr. Jessica Winters, his chief of adaptive technologies, manipulated the holographic displays with practiced expertise. The Zarkanians just deployed their third shield configuration in 6 hours, she reported, her fingers dancing through the data streams. They think they're countering our quantum disruptors, but they're actually giving us more data to work with. Each modification tells us more about their fundamental technology. Davidson nodded, remembering an old boxing match where his opponent had desperately tried to adapt to his style, only to telegraph his weaknesses with each change. "How long until the new penetrator beams are ready?" "That's the beautiful part, sir." Winter's eyes gleamed with predatory satisfaction. "We're not just matching their adaptations, we're anticipating them. The quantum eye has already calculated their next 3 probable shield configurations." She gestured, and a new simulation appeared. "We'll have counters ready before they even make the changes." Across the lab complex, hundreds of Earth's brightest minds worked in concert with quantum computers, processing combat data in real time. Captured alien technology was dissected, analyzed, and improved upon within hours. What had taken the Zarkanians centuries to develop, humanity was reimagining in days. "Sir," a junior officer rushed in, holding a secure tablet. "Ghost Squadron just reported in. The aliens are deploying some kind of temporal distortion field." Davidson turned to Winters. "How long?" She was already accessing the combat feeds. "Give me 3 hours. We'll have a counter." She paused, studying the energy signatures. "No, make that 2 hours. Their temporal tech is based on the same principles we discovered in '83. We already have a theoretical framework to work from." The general allowed himself a small smile. The Zarkanians had made the classic mistake of assuming technological superiority meant they had nothing left to learn. Humanity, forged in endless conflict, had never stopped learning, never stopped adapting. "Latest neural profile analysis from Project Nightmare," another officer reported. "The enemy fleet is showing increasing signs of strategic paralysis. They can't understand how we're adapting so quickly." Davidson moved to the central command station, where feeds from every theater of combat streamed in simultaneously. Ghost Squadron's fighters were dancing through space, each pilot's neural interface allowing them to process combat data at superhuman speeds. The Marine Raiders were uploading close combat footage that would be analyzed and used to improve training simulations within hours. "Dr. Winters," he called out, "show me the efficiency curve." A new hologram materialized. a graph showing the speed of human technological adaptation versus Zarkanian responses. The alien line was almost flat. They were fighting according to centuries of unchanged doctrine. The human line, by contrast, shot upward at an almost vertical angle. They're still trying to figure out how we hid our tech level from them, Winters noted. They don't understand that this isn't about hidden technology. It's about adaptation speed. We're not just using what we developed before the invasion. We're evolving our capabilities in real time. Davidson's neural implant buzzed with an incoming priority message. Ghost Squadron has engaged their new temporal weapons, he announced. Dr. Winters, you have 90 minutes. Show them why humans don't just learn from victory. We learn faster from setbacks. As his science teams raced against time, Davidson reflected on humanity's unique path to this moment. Other species achieved peace, then technology, then space travel. Humans had done it backward, carrying their warlike nature to the stars. Now, facing their greatest challenge, that warrior spirit was proving to be their salvation. Sir, Winters called out, first counter-temporal prototypes are ready for testing. We've improved on their design by incorporating quantum uncertainty principles. Davidson nodded. Deploy to all combat units. Let's show these aliens why you should never give humans time to study your technology. He paused, watching as new combat data streamed in. Because we won't just understand it. We'll make it better, faster, and deadlier than you ever imagined possible. Technical Sergeant Kevin Cipher O'Brien cracked his knuckles as he studied the cascading streams of alien code flowing across his neural interface display. 36 hours into the conflict, and the Zarkanian battle network was finally beginning to reveal its secrets. Their quantum encryption was impressive, but they'd never faced human hackers before. Status update. Major Thompson's voice came through his comm. How close are we to breaching their core systems? Almost there, sir, O'Brien replied, his augmented fingers dancing across the holographic interface. Their network architecture is complex, but it has one critical weakness. They never expected anyone to attempt a direct neural interface hack. Around him in the cyber warfare chamber, his team of elite hackers worked in perfect synchronization. Each was connected to the quantum mainframe through neural links, their enhanced minds processing data at speeds that would have seemed impossible just decades ago. Got it. Lissa Ghost in the Machine, Rodriguez called out. Found a backdoor through their tertiary communication nodes. They're using an old quantum protocol we cracked 2 years ago. O'Brien smiled. Time to show them why Earth's hackers are the most feared in any reality. His consciousness expanded as he dove deeper into the alien network, riding the quantum data streams. Major requesting authorization to deploy the Nightmare Symphony. There was a pause on the comm. Confirmed, Cipher. Make it hurt. The cyber warfare team initiated their most devastating weapon. Not a virus or a system crash, but something far more psychologically damaging. They began uploading carefully selected audio files into the Zarkanian neural network, the sound of human laughter during combat. First wave deployed, O'Brien reported, watching as the audio files spread through the alien fleet's communication systems. These are recordings from Ghost Squadron during their first engagement. Pilot laughter while scoring kills. The effect was immediate. The Zarkanian neural patterns showed spikes of confusion and disbelief. To a species that viewed combat as a grim necessity, the sound of humans finding joy in battle was deeply disturbing. Second wave initiating, Rodriguez announced. Uploading Marine Raider combat chatter now. This time, they added video feeds. Human special forces moving through alien ships with practiced efficiency, their comm channels filled with casual banter and dark humor. The Zarkanians couldn't comprehend how their opponents could treat lethal combat as almost routine. Sir, O'Brien called out to Thompson, their battle network is showing signs of systemic shock, ready to deliver the killing stroke. Execute. O'Brien's fingers flew across his interface as he initiated the final phase. Into the alien neural network, they uploaded humanity's entire military history. not just the battles and victories, but the culture that surrounded them. Warriors throughout history who sang as they fought. Soldiers who made dark jokes in the face of death. Pilots who whooped with joy as they executed impossible maneuvers. Their command and control is fragmenting, Rodriguez reported. The psychological impact is cascading through their neural link. They can't process how we think about combat. O'Brien watched through his neural interface as the Zarkanian fleet's coordinated defense began to crumble. Their rigid military hierarchy, based on the assumption that combat was a calculated exchange of force, couldn't adapt to an enemy that treated warfare as an art form. "Major," he transmitted, ready to deliver the final package. "Permission to deploy the Warrior's Joy protocol." "Do it." With a complex series of neural commands, O'Brien unleashed their masterstroke. Into the alien network, they'd poured the concentrated neural patterns of human warriors throughout history. The berserker rage of Viking warriors, the focused calm of samurai, the cold calculation of modern snipers, the exhilarating rush of fighter pilots. The full spectrum of humanity's complex relationship with combat flooded the Zarkanian consciousness. "Sir," Rodriguez called out, her voice filled with awe. "Their entire command structure is collapsing. They're retreating. Multiple ships are breaking formation." O'Brien allowed himself a moment of satisfaction as he watched the alien fleet's organization dissolve into chaos. "Turns out the most devastating weapon wasn't our technology," he observed. "It was letting them understand exactly what they were fighting." Through his neural link, he could almost feel the wave of primal fear sweeping through the alien fleet as they finally grasped the truth. They hadn't invaded a primitive civilization. They had awakened a species that had turned warfare into an art form, combat into a science, and victory into a celebration. Admiral Sarah "Iron Lady" Blackwood stood before the United Galaxy Council, her dress uniform bearing the newly created insignia of Earth's combined defense force. The massive chamber, carved from an asteroid in neutral space, housed representatives from 37 spacefaring civilizations, including, she noted with carefully hidden satisfaction, the remnants of the once mighty Zarkanian Empire. "The human delegation may speak," announced the council elder, a crystalline being from the Andromeda Galaxy. Blackwood stepped forward, her neural implant automatically translating her words into 17 different languages. 3 months ago, the Zarkanian Empire arrived in our solar system, expecting to find an easy conquest. Instead, they found humanity. The chamber's holographic displays activated, showing footage from the conflict. Ghost Squadron's fighters dancing through quantum space, Marine raiders executing perfect zero-G combat maneuvers, Project Nightmare's devastating psychological warfare campaign. "They assumed our visible technology represented our limits," she continued. "They thought our apparent divisions meant weakness. They believed our relative youth as a spacefaring species made us vulnerable." She paused, letting her gaze sweep across the chamber. They were wrong. The Zarkanian representatives shifted uncomfortably in their seats as she played the footage of their fleet's retreat. Their once mighty armada, reduced to chaos by humanity's combination of advanced technology and psychological warfare. "But we're not here to gloat over victory," Blackwood declared. "We're here to build something new. Humanity remembers its own history. The strong dominating the weak, empires built on conquest, the endless cycle of violence. We chose a different path." New images appeared. Earth ships delivering aid to former Zarkanian subject worlds. Human medical teams treating alien wounded. Engineering corps helping rebuild damaged infrastructure. The Zarkanians taught their subjects to fear strength. "We will teach them to respect wisdom." They demanded obedience. "We offer partnership." She gestured to her aide, who activated a quantum-encrypted data transfer to each council member's terminal. "Before you is Earth's proposal for the Galactic Mutual Defense and Development Accord." Murmurs filled the chamber as the representatives reviewed the document. Blackwood continued, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's newfound authority. Every signatory world will receive access to Earth's quantum shield technology, making planetary invasion obsolete. Our medical advances will be shared freely. Our educational institutions will open their doors to all species. She turned specifically to the former subject worlds of the Zarkanian Empire. We remember being the underdog. We remember fighting against impossible odds. That's why Earth will guarantee the independence of any world that signs this accord. Never again will the strong be allowed to prey upon the weak. The chamber erupted in discussion. Blackwood stood patiently, remembering her conversation with the Joint Chiefs before this mission. Show them, they had said, that humanity's greatest strength isn't our ability to win wars. It's our ability to build peace. And what of the Zarkanians? Asked a representative from one of their former subject worlds. After their crimes, how can we trust them in this new order? Blackwood's response was measured. On Earth, we have a saying. The strongest steel is forged in the hottest fire. The Zarkanians have learned humility. Now they can learn wisdom. She turned to the Zarkanian delegation. Your empire is ended, but your civilization need not be. Join us as equals, and help build something greater than conquest. The council elders' crystalline form shimmered. The human proposal is unprecedented. You possess military superiority. Why not simply take what the Zarkanians sought? Blackwood smiled. Because that's not who we are. Humanity fought not for conquest, but for the right to determine our own destiny. We believe every species deserves that same right. As the council chamber filled with voices of support, Blackwood allowed herself a moment of pride. Humanity had proven itself not just through victory in war, but through wisdom in peace. The galaxy was about to enter a new era, one where the strong protected the weak, where knowledge was shared freely, and where the horrors of invasion would become a distant memory. The vote will now begin, announced the council elder. Blackwood stood tall, knowing that this moment would be remembered not as the end of a war, but as the beginning of humanity's true destiny among the stars.